feel like people think I'm like a pretty boy. You know what I mean? I bet he uses conditioner, right? Like, no.
No, that's just grease.
I've started stealing my fiance's conditioner.
And do you feel better about yourself or worse about yourself for doing that?
I kind of was thinking about cutting off the hair. So it was like,
whoa.
All right, before I cut off the hair, I need to like see what it's like if I actually take care of it. Because it would be a waste to have hair this long and not take care of it. So I've started like being like, all right, I will try to take care of it and see what ends up happening. I only really have the man bun because I'm lazy. Okay, I have the man bun because I'm lazy, and I also I have like marks on the top of my head that would not allow me to have a shaved head.
Well, you have like a swastika up here? Like
no, I've got like a little thing there, like a skin tag. That's just been there my entire life, but it's like just there.
That's fun.
So I've just got like a horn on top of my head, basically. So I can't shave my head. Otherwise, people will be like, holy shit, the Borat was right. There are horns on your head. But no, they're like back here. They're like on the crown of my head right here. There's like, yeah, it's exactly where horns would be. It's
Please don't tell me you're a Capricorn, you know, like
what if I am? Guest? I don't know. It's just like a thing. It just exists on the top of my head. It's like the size of, I don't know. I can't really think of anything that's like it's relatively the size of, but it's there enough that like if I shaved my head, you'd probably be like, what the fuck is on the top of his head? It's one of those things where it's like if we had medical care in the United States of America, I could shave my head and then get them to remove this thing. But I don't.
I mean, you can remove it with a scissor. You just might hate yourself for a little while.
I will say this. I think that is bad. That is a bad idea, and it is more substantial than you're imagining it to be.
Oh, okay. It's not like a wart. You could just get some like freeze away and like.
It's the kind of like, I've tried that. It didn't work at all. So it's like some other thing. It's just like a part of my skin that has decided to grow there in a weird way.
It's actually where KM Worst grew out of. It was just like,
yeah, like it's like I ate my sibling in the womb and they stayed right here. Is like that's the I Cassandra Nova'd somebody.
All I'm envisioning is Peter Griffin and just simply I'm a tumor.
Yeah, I would be worried about it if I hadn't had it all my life. You know what I mean? Like if this appeared out of nowhere, I'd be like, I have cancer. But it's just been there. They've just been there since I was a child. I don't remember ever not having it.
Slowly, these intros have gotten a lot more personal, and I don't know where that line is quite yet about learning about where you have your skin tag.
But I mean, you know, I kind of assumed that we were recording. I didn't think you would use it.
I don't know if I'm gonna, but I might.
Like I didn't expect it.
I didn't start recording, and then because you just kept going.
Yeah,
and I was like, all right,
I just had a horrible time. I had a horrible time. I lost every 8-cuber I played. I was an hour late on my video because I was too busy losing 8-cubers. For people that are like Cam, you don't need to worry about your rank anymore. Like we know you're good at the game. You don't need to worry about this. I want everyone to know that this is like, it's not like a logical thing. It's compulsive behavior. Like I am wholly unable to act in my own best interests when I'm losing. I've just got to go back and lose more. It's like I have an innate drive to be like, I'm losing. I need to keep playing in this mindset that I'm in. I'm throwing value away. But here's the thing. What if I'm not?
You sound like a gambling addict.
Well, yes, that is where I was going with that. Yes.
Yeah. Like I'm a little, do we have to have a talk?
Probably.
Okay.
You gotta have the, you know, it's okay to close the game conversation.
Who's at that intervention for you? What do we got? Like Husky and Butt and Smiz and like just like put them all in a circle or they're just gonna enable you? Like
I think at least 2 of those 3 would enable me. Yeah.
Right.
I think a solid 2 of those.
They can argue amongst themselves about who's the good one out of the 3.
Right. Yes, I think that's the right way for this. Like, I want them to each think that they're the one I'm talking about.
Because he clearly is talking about you.
You.
Yeah. You.
I looked at the wrong camera. I said you, and I looked like straight ahead. The camera's over here. I don't know.
I was about to say, I'm like, you only have one camera. I'm the one with like 4 cameras.
Right. Okay. Well, now that we're done shaming me for being a broke boy who's addicted to gambling, would you like to start the podcast?
We could.
We could.
I guess we'll
you know
start.
What's weird is like, I'll say this.
Yeah.
This mindset has led me to a place of clarity where, like, when I recorded my video, I feel like I did such a good job recording the video, but all I could think while I was recording the video was, "Fuck, I'd rather be losing 8 cubes right now." I was just like, "Why?" I'm blasting through this video because I've got to get back to losing 8 cubes before I record this podcast. Like that was like the mindset, and I'm very frustrated to realize that mindset delivered better content. Like, to me, recording that video, I came away from it and I was like, "Man, that was really good. That was really good."
All right, so then here's how you do that. If you right before every recording that you have to do, you're going to go play. No, not even that. You're just gonna go play, but you're gonna get a piece of paper on your screen and you're just gonna cover the right location. And then play. That's it.
Yeah, you see it. You see it. You get it. You understand the move.
Yeah. Just make it work from there. I think you'll be set, because I know you really don't want to like regularly have to overthink about Punisher War Machine.
Oh, I mean, I think he's kind of interesting, actually.
I want to hear I haven't heard your take on it yet, so I want to hear your take on it, because I came to some very interesting conclusions as well.
So first thing I'm going to say is he probably is ass. I get it. Probably ass. Like, I think that's like, he's one of those cards where it's like, he's open-ended enough and unique enough that he's the kind of card that I file away in the back of my mind for a time when I want the exact thing that he's doing. And I don't know if that time is now. I think he's a mild upgrade in the butt virus deck. That's because he's a better thing to have in a location that wants you to win that location than Ascani Sun, because Ascani Sun needs you to keep winning that location, and you are a virus deck and you would like to play the card Techno-Organic Virus in that location, so he's like slightly better at that. I have seen a lot of weirdo stuff. Cougar's doing weirdo stuff with the lockdown shell, where we're just using this guy to get Storm War Machine Legion off, which is, I mean, if that's what this guy ends up, that's like the kind of thing cards like this tend to do. Where it's just like, we're doing Storm War Machine Legion again. And then the other one I saw, I lost the Chamo playing this. This is the Professor X one, which is basically the exact same thing. Where it's like, I'm playing, Tempo, Shadowlands, Daredevil, Punisher War Machine, Professor X. I'm going to get this by turn 3. I played Professor X on turn 4. Suck my dick, Eliath, the usual like 2023 Thanos strat, where it's just like, turn 4 Prof, turn 5 fuck you, turn 6 fuck you harder. Like, that's kind of it, right? Like, basically. Turn 4 Prof, turn 5 Negasonic, turn 6 Eliath, have fun playing the game. Like, that's the other stuff he does, where it's like, I would believe you if you told me like in 2 weeks those were actual good decks. I don't think they're there yet, but like, I would believe you if you told me they were good. Like, that it's the kind of thing where I don't want to just be like, he's bad. I think there's stuff we haven't found with him potentially in a meaningful way. And because he's such a specific little guy that he does all this weird stuff, and you're just like, I don't know how good that actually is. He's so different from how we normally evaluate cards. I feel bad that we're recording this a day earlier than we normally do. We switched our schedule. We're recording this on Wednesday now, right?
Right.
And I wish I had that extra day, Like, he's a card where it's like, I need a little more time to dial it in.
Okay. So here's, after playing him a bunch, my mindset on him is that he's a card who's confused, because he's representing himself as a ramp card for a ramp deck that doesn't exist. Because when you look at something like Wiccan, okay, we'll just think of Wiccan, which is a late game ramp. Essentially, you're trying to get 7 energy for turn 5, 8 for turn 6. That's the whole point of the deck. It's load it a certain way in the beginning and then really rain heavier on the end. Versus a regular ramp deck, right? Electro, Luna, etc. Those are cards that want to get your turn 3 down, so that way you can play a 5-cost card on turn 4 and then decide what you want to do turn 5, big card on turn 6. Punisher is built to basically try to be a card that you get early in your hand, and the only benefit it has over Luna, Snow, and Electro comparatively from those shells and what they represent is this is a card that can compete earlier than those cards based on turn 1 and turn 2 and get you an extra energy for turn 4. Given the size of the body for this card and the amount of times that I actually got a turn 2 ramp to happen, and now I've got 4 energy on turn 3, there was nothing substantial about that turn in particular where I felt like he was necessary or an upgrade compared to just waiting till turn 3 and doing the ramp thing that I want to do. Because he's built like a 3/4, but in the body of a 2/2. Because as a 3/4, who's a little weaker, that could give you the +1 energy to get a 5-cost card down early on turn 4, which is exactly what the Prof-X deck was doing. I went down that path as well. I started doing some Prof-X stuff, trying to get it out there a little earlier. I was like, okay, this is good, but I have a much weaker body. Sure, I got the activation a little earlier, and it feels even worse to play this on turn 3.
Here, though. There are some other things that are happening here, though, right? Like, it's not just like, oh, compare it to Luna, Snow, and Electro, because both of those cards are different cards, right? I think the Luna Snow comp, sure, plays. Right? Like Luna Snow's a 3/6 that ramps you. She's pretty good. Luna Snow also ramps your opponent, and they can turn off the ramp that you get by doing things like Cosmic Ghost Rider and Killmonger. Right. And like that does matter, right? 100%. I think on the whole, I would say she's a better card than Punisher War Machine, but it's not a 1-to-1. Electro's very different, I think, where Electro is like, there is in the entire game of Marvel Snap 3 cards that you can play to negate Electro's downside, and buddy, you're gonna have to do that if you want to be a real deck.
Yeah.
What I think you're speaking to is a lack of specificity with Punisher War Machine. Electro, very specified. This 3 into 5 thing, we've known about it for a very long time. It's very easy to evaluate. Punisher War Machine doesn't have any of those grooves engraved on our brains, so to speak. And he probably doesn't lend himself necessarily to something as specific as Electro Blink or Electro War Machine. But what he does have is that you can put him in whatever, as long as you're contesting early locations. What he does have is that I can put him in my virus deck and just be like, that's fine, which I cannot do with Electro. I am wholly unable to do that with Electro. I could maybe do that with Luna Snow. She gives you 2 bodies. There's like some argument for that just being a thing I can do. It's a 3/6. How could it possibly be that bad, right? But like, I agree insofar as this card has less specificity around what its goals are. And it is less obvious what you should be doing with it. Because I agree with that, because that's what informed my I wish I had a little more time on this take. Where that is not a permanent state of affairs. That is a statement of lack of current contextual knowledge.
That's
if
fair.
We didn't know about Electro Blink and Electro War Machine being good, and Electro came out and we hadn't figured that out by day 1, which is entirely possible, I don't think it would be right for us to say, well, the card sucks. Just we haven't figured it out yet. And I think that there's enough of a doubt in my mind that we've gotten to the best stuff to do with this guy that it's like, I realize there's a real chance that he just ends up being, a 3.5 out of 5. You don't have to go out of your way to get him, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
But this is a guy that does a weird enough and unique enough thing that he's definitely the kind of card that I like. I'm not saying he is this card. I'm saying that there is a specific type of card that when it comes out, people are like, it's like, fine, you don't really need it. The metagame changes and suddenly it's the most important card in a deck and you can't get it.
I wonder.
And he has that like profile to me, which is not to say that that will happen. Just he looks like a card that it could happen to, because there are very few other things that do what he does. He's such a specific thing, a specifically unique card.
However, how much of that strength of this card do you attribute to him? And how much of it do you attribute to, honestly, specifically Martyr? Because Martyr going to a 1/6 absolutely transformed the viability of this card because it competes with Lizard for that 2-cost slot. It competes because I know there's no way anybody else is going out there going, you know what I need to play right now? First Ghost Rider. Or you know what I need to play right now?
It wouldn't even work.
Ebony Maw raw early.
Yeah.
It's just not what you're doing to really make Punisher War Machine do what you think it deserves to do. And I've just kind of felt like the more and more I played, I was doing, some Techno-Organic Virus stuff. I was just trying as many different ramp style decks as I could. And I kept coming back to, if it weren't for Martyr and Lizard, what would this
and
card
Wilson
be?
Fisk, hold on.
Fisk working because of Martyr, though.
Yeah, it's Martyr. For me, it's Martyr Fisk. And then Lizard is like way out of that group. But yeah.
Yeah, I think the fact that Martyr is a little less accessible, Lizard, every single person has to be able to keep up with those decks right now for this week. And it's good in TOV. Like, I think those 6 power cards are incredibly valuable in this conversation, because if it weren't for I really do think most of Punisher War Machine's strength comes from Martyr. If you have Martyr Punisher War Machine, okay, your deck is going to do what you want it to do. But if you don't, Punisher War Machine is really an awful card to draw after turn 3, because very often you're already competing on all 3 lanes and now you're sitting on a dead 2/2. And those are the moments that I really felt discomfort, because I wasn't going to hold off for the hope of drawing him. It's like, look, if I draw him dead, I draw him dead. At this point, it's over. Like, he's got to do his thing effectively very early on, and you're committing so heavy to be able to do it. I don't know if it's an upgrade to those ramping style archetypes. And to be clear, I took a deck to Infinite with him, and he was a meaningful piece of that deck, but it has absolutely nothing to do with with his actual effect. The only value I would truly, and this is what I said in my review too, was the only value I truly felt that I was getting out of him was what I'm dubbing the Nebula effect. It's the, hey, you want to compete here. It's, I'm telling
the sort
you,
of mind game bit of it is real. Like, dictating that your opponent has to play in certain ways is real. That's a real thing. Yeah. I think largely it's not an incorrect statement to say that he hasn't felt like he's unlocked anything just yet. Yeah. But I think that Professor X deck, that's probably just a good deck, and it actually uses him in ways like, if you wanted to replace him in that deck, you wouldn't be able to do it. That's a Punisher War Machine deck. Like, you're doing Shadowlands, Daredevil. You're already, I think, playing Luna Snow.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you're replacing. Like, it's just one of those things, right? Like, it's a very... I found the deck build pretty compelling, to be completely honest with you. Which is to say that, like, I didn't get to that. And whoever put it together, I saw Chamo playing it. I assume it's him because it sort of seems like a him thing to do. Is to be like, I've constructed a Professor X Negasonic Goliath deck. Hello, I am exactly the guy you would expect to do this, right? Like that.
Yeah.
I don't expect him to be like, oh my God, busted. But it's going to be one of those situations where, like, if that deck does well in a tournament, and you're like, how do I build this deck without Punisher War Machine? The answer is going to be like, you can't.
Yeah.
And like, he's just one of those cards where it's like, that's a very specific type of deck. A tempo Professor X thing, right? Like, you're asking a lot of very specific, yes, this is the list I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
What are you replacing Punisher War Machine in here with? Nothing. There's not a replacement. There just isn't. Like, it just won't be the deck you want it to be without 2 ways to ramp into Professor X. Just won't do it.
Well,
and
no, I disagree with you. I think the way you do it is you take out Punisher War Machine Martyr and you place it with Silver Sable and Superior Spider-Man.
Ooh.
Because you've already got TOV.
Yeah, I don't know if I trust it, but it could work. I don't know.
It's guaranteed green
that feels
power.
That feels a little. Because I think what I like about this list is you just play the Punisher War Machine, and then your turn 5, your next turn is like, Lizard Martyr, Daredevil Martyr, Debris, whatever. You're gonna win it on 3, basically. You just always win it on 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the other thing this deck does really well is like once you've won it on 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your opponent's like, all right, I'm going to stop contesting that lane. Wrong, Professor X. You need to keep contesting that lane. It's like that's like again. I don't know if this is a good deck. I certainly have enjoyed what I've seen of it. It's just a lot of things that I think are particularly compelling. Like that's sick. There's a bunch of just sick stuff going on here. I appreciate what it's doing.
I'd almost be more interested than Thing.
I do think I would play Punisher War Machine. I think that's the best version of the list.
I mean, because I had tried something in a similar mindset with doing the Professor X type stuff. I didn't go down this lane control, Elias, Negasonic style. I was trying to do some like backup plan, just lock it down on 4, and then just go super tall kind of a deck instead of just shutting it down like that. But I'd almost be more interested in a secondary variation of this, where instead of Thing, I'd be looking at Vision, because I'd really be interested in the idea of using a Prof-X in a lane you're losing, but know you will be able to win with either Vision, Jeff, those kinds of things. And the other thing that a lot of people forget about, which is why I wanted
is that you could TOV the Prof-X lane.
Yeah, that was exactly what I did. Here, this was the deck that I had done, and I was just like messing around with stuff. Where is it?
You TOV the Prof-X lane because it's like functionally, as long as they can't play there on 6, who gives a shit unless they're playing Doctor Doom.
Superlands Teenage? No, not this. That's just the standard deck. Oh, that was the ramp.
You have a deck named Mother Ascani with an O. Is Isan in there?
Yep.
Let's go.
Yeah, it was actually a lot of fun, this deck, sidebarring. I know, Mother Ascani. Yeah, it was really oddly fun.
I believe that it was oddly fun. Yes.
Yeah.
There is a Nick Fury. He's sort of the patron saint of that bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, Dragon Lord.
Put Nick Fury in your deck, you're going to be like, I'm going to have such fun with a 40% win rate.
I had higher than 50, and that's what mattered. I'm gonna have. I'll have to go find the deck again. But long story short,
what's new Pussycat? I assume there's a black cat in there, but I just kind of want to see if the pun goes any deeper.
No, what's new Pussycat?
Wait a minute. This is disgusting.
This is specifically because Josie is the hot location, so Josie and the Pussycats. I did not go down the Tom Jones lane.
No, I'll give you that one. That's acceptable.
This is me just messing around with the hot location of trying to get 2 cards into a lane.
I saw people playing Sholau on the hot location. Like they forgot it was, May 2026 and not April 2026. It's over for you, buddy. Oh yeah. Okay. You're playing Sholau. All right. Have fun.
And to be fair, any deck that allows me to play Mobius and Stardust right now is actually pretty good. So
Rocket Raccoon is vouch for one of those cards and not the other one.
Yeah. Rocket and Groot is eating on Josie's right now. Like he is fully enjoying that diner. But digressing. We were here. We were talking about this build. Like I'd be curious to really kind of dive into this a little bit further. I do think that there's something there. Because the variation I did was definitely nowhere near as good.
Yeah, I'm very just like this is a very polished, like the thing that I'm worried about with this card is I'm going to be like, it sucks, it's terrible, don't buy it, right? Yeah. And then like this is a very polished, like when I see a deck like this, I'm like, oh, that's a thing we don't have a name for right now. I don't have a name for this archetype.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that worries me is like there's gonna be something that's like, an archetype we don't have a name for yet.
Yeah.
That this guy enables, and it's like, I'm a little concerned that might be it. You know, like, I think that deck is probably pretty strong.
Yeah. This is the variation I was doing. I was doing Merc Ball stuff in there as a part of that way. I would have the Jeff, I had the Mercury, the Bob. I had ways to move into the Profex lane as the backup plan, and then just a Galactus first step. So that way you kind of have to choose your battle of Punisher War Machine's got a target there, and then you've got your Galactus first steps, which has a target over there. It's like, well, where are you competing? You know, trying to intentionally mess with the opponent of, look, you're going to have to choose your battle. Either way, I'm winning one of them. So which one is it? Is it the energy battle or is it the points battle? So I was messing in there. Maybe there's somewhere in between the two different decks, but just the idea of what this card is able to do is really, it's not that it's undiscovered. That's the wrong word. It's very early on, because again, we're recording this a day earlier than we normally do, and having the extra day of time for you, I know, is very valuable, which is why you wait 2 days to do your new card review.
I wait a day, but yes,
a day-ish.
If I know, it's all it comes out the day after the card comes out, you know.
And I kind of wanted to. I always stream Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I don't get to play a lot on Thursday. So I've had like my dosage of what I wanted for this card. And I'm still stuck on the idea that I can't justify any of the decks that we talked about, whether it's the Profex stuff or whatever it may be. Luna's just such an upgrade compared to this card, and doing already so much more with it. It's like, I don't know why else I would like it. It's almost, you know what this card does? It makes a better Wiccan deck. Because you don't need to play Wiccan.
That's why it's such a Chamo coded thing to do, right?
Yeah,
like that's
no,
exactly why that deck is so like, oh yeah, I don't know who made that deck, but I played against Chamo with that deck, and I saw it on Untapped, and I was like, it has to be. It has to be.
Yeah, the Wiccanless Wiccan deck.
Like, it's the most. It's so him. It's so incredibly him.
You'll laugh, but here, this was the deck that I took to Infinite with him. It was a Man Spider Galactus deck.
Yeah, I mean,
because ramp out the Man Spider on
infusion, 5. Fastball special, magic. This is all just, there's a term, there's this guy who writes a lot about competitive gaming. His name's David Serlin, right? And there's a term he uses called Yomi, which refers to things that may or may not happen, correct reads in a fighting game context. My opponent will attack here. I can block up or down effectively, making the correct read. That is where skill lies for him.
Right.
And Galactus decks are like the most fighting game ass decks in the entirety of card games. And card games, Snap especially, are kind of fighting game-ish anyway in a very real sense. But Galactus decks are the most like Yomi ass shit, where it's just like they are going to do one of two things. One of them beats you, the other one does not. It's just like that's your turn 5 and your turn 6 are just like you're sitting there like, man, I hope I get this one right. Like, man,
very often,
man, I hope I nail this one. And the counters are like really obvious. The strategy is really telegraphed, but there's 2 options that fork the road. So even if it's telegraphed, it's not necessarily telegraphed, right? And that's there's not nothing there. Yeah,
I mean, it was fun because I hadn't played a Man Spider deck in a while, and having the amount of flexibility as this deck already with or without Punisher War Machine, this deck has a lot of flexibility built within it of how you want to play out, because you realize very quickly the second you see Fastball Special, it's like, oh shit, if I'm not familiar with this, now I have to think about Galactus. There's nothing in that lane, and I just got hit with negative 36 power. Like, what's going on here? And it is a very 2-cube deck.
Yeah, but
I am
alternative
well aware of that.
The alternative, of course, I mean, like what I find compelling about this deck is like you could be the final turn, there's like a big ass Man Spider in a lane, right?
Yeah.
Are you worried about Arnim Zola? Are you worried about Absorbing Man? Are you worried about the fact that Luna Snow and Magic, or Punisher War Machine and Magic, means that I can play Fastball Special Galactus on the same turn? Like, there's just a bunch of shit in all of these decks that it's like, I realize I'm probably dead, but as long as you don't know my exact 12, I might just end the entire game right now. There's a bunch of that going on. Like just the baseline, like Magic Galactus stuff, where it's like, oh yeah, I think they're setting up for a big man spider. They're going to add Adamantium Infusion or whatever. Bam, Galactus, turn 6, turn 7 goes away, GG, right? Like that.
Yep.
It's just stuff.
I did that several times, yeah.
There's just
Magic on
stuff
5.
in a deck like this that just... in as much as Galactus has been a problem, it's because he reduces games to that too much. And Galactus as a card tends to sort of strip the artifice away from Marvel Snap, and the artifice is where a lot of the games are played. He tends to make games be about him or nothing. And that's a fine thing for a card like Galactus to do, but it's definitely not something you want to be particularly powerful. And what I appreciate about their Galactus redesign is they made it just like have the ability to totally flop if your opponent figures it out super hard. He's just got like a 50% chance that even if you set up everything perfectly, they're going to be like, I get it. I'm going to play my Luna Snow on the lane. You're going to Galactus. Now you have a thing there. Sorry, buddy. Just a bunch of stuff that just gets his ass. And I think the I get it moment is where the fun comes from the opponent, right? Because this is a very asymmetrically fun card, but he makes you feel smart if you beat him. And I do think that that's like a kind of compelling way to design a card. He makes you feel really smart if you beat him. Like, I would argue he feels smarter to beat than he feels bad to lose to. When you cleverly read a Galactus and you're like, I think that's one of the best feelings in the game. And I think for a card that's roughly asymmetric, to be a card that is one of the best feelings in the game to beat and one of the best feelings in the game to play, that's a pretty cool card. I got to give it up.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was a fun deck to play in a meta that is seeing a lot less Cosmo, in a meta that's seeing a lot of Shadow King on 6. And
I would imagine that makes it not fun to play this, but what do I know?
No, it actually worked out pretty regularly to my benefit because, like you were saying, the fastball special into Galactus, like my favorite play was ramping into a Galactus on 5 and in a losing lane, and then fastball special Adamantium Infusion that same lane to bring back basically an 18 power point difference and then still get the Galactus to go off a second time. Like, that kind of stuff worked. And that's just one line with it. But Punisher War Machine specifically in it, giving another out. So now you've got Punisher War Machine, you've got Penny Parker, you've got Magic, and you've got Luna Snow, all as different ways that are augmenting those combinations of final plays. It made it a fun deck for Punisher War Machine to do, shenanigans with for now. But I don't think it's the best way to play the card. I still think it's all of the TOV stuff right now because TOV is just bananas at the moment.
I don't know that it's bananas. I feel like a lot of people are just describing any card that's good as like busted or whatever. TOV is like a pretty good deck. It's not like, holy shit. It's just like a good points package. I don't know.
It's a good points package in a meta that wants Mobius. So it's seeing a lot of play. Yeah.
But like that's like not busted. That's just like you described what it is. It's like a very normal thing to happen, right? Like and I feel like everyone is just so used to like whatever they think the best deck is, it's got to be like, holy shit. It's busted. Sometimes the best deck is just like pretty good. And I'm not even sure this is the best deck. like that's the other thing, right? Like I like it. I think the 2 Uncanny decks are right there with it, if not above it.
Yeah.
Me. They are right there. It's a very fine deck, very fine archetype. Nothing, I've got no like issues with it. I just I'm noticing a lot of people jumping straight to like Gambit's busted. Techno-Organic Virus is busted. It's all busted. Like I don't think there's a single card in the game right now that's as good as Sholau was. Not one.
Ooh.
I just don't think it exists.
The closest thing I'd say would be Mother Ascani. Yeah.
You could argue it, but I just don't think so.
Yeah, it's up there, but I just, and it may get there. We're just not.
I think it might get there
yet.
But I can tell you for sure she isn't as good as 5'8" plus 3 Sholau. I tell you that
God, no.
for free. Not even close.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
And like, I don't think she's as good as either of the 4-cost Star-Lords. And it just sort of feels like the more we describe whatever the best thing to do is as busted every time, the less I feel like it has meaning.
Well, we're content creators. We use busted, broken, unreal,
I don't
favorite
do this.
ever.
I feel like we have to, like, that because we're content creators, we need to be responsible with our language to some degree.
Once you get them to click, yes.
I had the same conversation with Glazer, and he said the same thing. Like, I was like, do you not like, he was just like, no, man, I just want them to click the fucking thing. It's like, yes, I guess, man.
Yes, you have to get them to click. To the world listening right now,
I just make dumb faces.
Playing you. Okay.
I just make stupid faces. I don't call things busted when I don't think they're busted. I just go like, or like,
that's the thumbnail of every single Snapcast. I know. Like,
yeah, it's great. I have successfully been 1% more ethical than my peers, and I will use that 1% to lord it over them until the end of time. That's what it is to be an American.
I definitely did not just send to a thumbnail editor 76 different photos of me in different poses and positions and silly faces, including several emotes from Marvel Snap. I definitely didn't do that.
Yeah, why would you?
I don't know. Just a thought.
Why would you? Yeah, it's just a crazy thing. I don't know why you do that.
Yeah.
All my clickbait is ethical. My clickbait is ethical. I hit top 10. I'm like, top 10 with this. Question mark, exclamation point, shocked face.
What?
But I'm not telling you it's something that it isn't. I'm an ethical clickbaiter. It's like being not fully vegan, you know? It's like being like vegan but still eating cheese. Like I haven't made the full commitment.
But sure, you know, like,
sure. I haven't made the full commitment, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe it's like being vegetarian but still eating chicken. It's like eating kosher or halal. You know? It's like one of those.
Yeah.
Slightly better.
It's close.
Just a little better.
You're on your way-ish.
Yes. It represents a step, but it's still not making a serious commitment. That is the thing I'm getting at. I've got one that's like, this is crazy. But in fairness, that was about a Scani buff, and it actually is crazy. So I stand by that. That's a correct statement.
So I'm going to switch gears for a second here because I wanted to ask you about something because this came up as a conversation earlier because I ran into, it was a variation of the Scar stuff that's been going around recently. Different and more TOV, I know, but it's like just trying to get, a bunch of 10s so you have a cheap extra 12 to drop on the final turn. And this is yet again another reappearance of, hey, there's a lot of big cards on the board again, guys. We got a lot of these Sasquatches raining down for 15 to 17 power each. We got a lot of this crap to da. It's like, okay, that's all great and all. And then I'm hearing it again where people are talking about old Shang-Chi. And I want to talk to you about it mainly because I've gone back and forth where I was very anti-reversion for old Shang-Chi. And I was trying to understand more so, like, is it just because they want to solve all as a community? Like, am I hearing this because people want a solve all for the lane? Do they really want to be able to destroy 3 or 4 different cards all in one lane? Yeah, something like that. No, there's a bunch of them either way. Like, is it worth it to have that control card back in? Because I'm starting to see this conversation come back up. And every time it rears its head, it always gets me thinking, like, what is the specific reason that because it's not Scar. Let's be honest here. Scar is not a dangerous card in reality. It's a good card. It's a combo piece. It's great that you get these. Awesome. Good for you. Merry Christmas. But it's not a card that makes me go, that needs to bring back old Shang-Chi. I see an ungodly amount of Sasquatches. I can justify it.
Yeah, but like, I'm throwing Prio, brother. Like, if I'm Sasquatch and I like, it's one of those things where it's like, a lot of the things people complain about are solved by Mobius and Mobius right now.
Right now,
that whole Gambit deck just gets housed.
Mm-hmm.
It just gets put in a dumpster by that card. Like, it is a tough ask to beat that card.
Yeah.
A lot of the TOV decks, if you play the card Killmonger, instantly die.
Yeah.
Like, not all of them, but a lot of them are wholly incapable of beating that card.
I got Electred today, and it felt awful because it was a 13 power Electra, essentially. Like, wow, that really hurt.
And I think that when it comes to Shang-Chi, the reason you see discussion of him is because he has carved such a groove in the brain of the community collectively.
Yeah.
He exists as such a big part of our collective psyche that whenever they start losing to something that he could theoretically deal with, they're like, oh, we should bring him back because that's a solution they're familiar with, which I actually think that obvious and familiar solutions. I've been thinking about this a lot since Star-Lord, really, where it's actually quite important from a game design perspective that players be able to easily understand how to counter things. And I'm not saying this is like an iron law that it like always has to be like this. But I think we've seen from Star-Lord that if the counters for something are sort of gameplay dependent, and there's not just a card that says, put this in my deck and I'll beat it. If you have to consider things, they simply just don't get adopted in numbers that are meaningful at lower ranks. They just don't. Yeah. And that is a big eye opener for me, because you look at when they tried to do what they did to do with Ghost, and you're like, well, that was stupid. Did you do that? But if you think about it, it makes perfect sense as long as they are operating from this principle. We know that at a high level, Supergiant beats the Invisible Woman decks. People aren't going to do that at rank 50. It's not going to happen. It requires too much specific knowledge of I'm playing this 4-cost card on 5, and here's why it works. We're not doing it. So we're going to make a card that actually just says, put me in your deck, and I beat it. Ghost failed at doing that, but that's the idea. And I think that, to me, that's the big lesson here. Well, not that they should revert Shang-Chi, but that this community really loves, for better or for worse, easy solutions. And this is in large part because Marvel Snap's economy combined with 12 cards in deck means that cards, in order to be functional as solutions, have to have a lot on them and really, really work. They really work. The solutions to this stuff do their job. You beat Hela when you play Stardust. You beat Mr. Negative when you play Mobius. There is no two ways about that. That is what happens when you play that card.
Then why do we hate Luke Cage?
Oh, because this is a great. I'm so glad you asked this. Actually, I love this. I have 10 minutes on this. I'm so glad you asked. So the problem you run into is that Marvel Snap's design is such that it has to release these cards where they cover the entire range of possible interactions. And Luke Cage's biggest problem is that his range of possible interactions is so narrow that there's nothing you can really take off of him in a meaningful way that will allow you to release another card in that space. You cannot make, if you wanted to take something off of Mobius and then make another card in the space of, I fuck up your opponent's stuff, you could do that. You could say, oh, I'm going to cut half of Mobius off. Now what he says is no costs can be decreased. Yours and theirs. You know? And then I could make another card that interacts with costs in that way. But with Luke Cage, there's no room. There's no room at all. But largely the thing we hate about Luke Cage, the thing I hate about Luke Cage, is kind of a natural consequence of just how Marvel Snap is designed. if you're going to do this, if you're going to make a card that does this, it is better to make a card that actually works and does its job than it is to make Ghost. Because the community wants those things. My contention is this. It is always better for us to be in a Mobius meta, a Stardust meta, whatever other thing, a Luke Cage meta, than it would have been to be in the meta of the things those things beat. And it's not by much. It's not by much.
Yeah.
But it's always better. And so you get these things where when those cards are good, what they are stopping your opponent from doing is unilaterally dictating terms to you, telling you how the game is. And when you think about a lot of the cards that get what we on this podcast refer to as Arashem's disease, a lot of them are cards that fundamentally change Marvel Snap in a one-sided unilateral manner. Star-Lord did this. Loki did this. Arashem did this. People still emote you on Loki even though he is terrible now. There is a ton of negative sentiment accrued in those cards because of the time they spent dictating terms to you in a straightforward, you can't do anything about this manner. Hela, another great example. These are cards that have a lot of accrued hatred from the player base because there were 2 years where if you were in the wrong matchup against them, it was over. There wasn't a game to play. There just wasn't anything happening. They dictated that they were dictating unilaterally to you what the terms the game was being played on were. And the problem is Stardust and Mobius are also doing this. They are also unilaterally dictating. But what they're unilaterally dictating is a return to normalcy. These are unilaterally dictating that you play Marvel Snap and there are 3 locations and you have a certain amount of energy per game that both players have equal access to. And the stuff they are overwhelmingly beating are decks that are saying, if you are not interacting with me on this axis, I will have more points than you because I am cheating one of the 2 fundamental axes of Marvel Snap. That is the premise. And so as much as it is problematic, and this is when we get to like why we hate Luke Cage, because even the counters to these unilateral dictators are in themselves unilateral. As much as that is problematic, it is less problematic than the alternative, which is whatever it is gets to run wild. And so we hate Luke Cage, and we hate Stardust, and we hate Mobius, but they are better than the alternative. I think part of the additional reason that we hate Luke Cage, though, is like Stardust and Mobius like deal with real problems, and Luke Cage deals with like Afflict, which is just not very good. And it's like, why does this effect that just isn't very good have a hard counter? Like there is some of that in there, I think, where it's like, why does the effect that like kind of blows have a hard counter? That's a little weird.
I don't think it's a matter of the Afflict effect is something that kind of like blows. It's more for me.
Where's Luke at? Pull Luke up. Like the only way to make this guy have less of an effect. This is the most frustrating thing about Luke Cage. Mobius has 2 clauses on him. Stardust affects both players.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know how to make half of a Luke Cage. I don't know how to do it. Like, obviously, you could do like you could restrict Stardust and Mobius to like you could restrict Stardust and Luke Cage to like specific lanes. You know, cards can't be summoned at other locations on Stardust. Cards can't be afflicted at other locations on Luke Cage, or this location, or adjacent locations, or whatever. You get like you could do that, right? Like it's a thing you can do. But the fundamental function of Afflict is so specific that just this line of text interacts with every single part of it. You want to play a deck that's playing a bunch of hazmats, you play Luke Cage. You want to play Anti-Venom, you play Luke Cage. You want to play Mysterio, you play Luke Cage. His fingers are in every pie with regards to anything that has a negative power. And that's the thing that bugs me the most, is that I got no good solves for the guy. But I feel like the card that does the hazmat stuff should be a different card than the card that does the anti-venom stuff. Those are two different cards.
Yeah.
One of them should be like, you know, there's no way to make Marvel Snap's words make them two different cards, is the thing that bugs me about Luke Cage the most. If I wanted to make half a Mobius, I could make half a Mobius.
So the way you make something half versus whole is on reveal versus ongoing. When it's an on reveal, you have it be something that is a predetermined period of time. Next turn, something happens or doesn't happen, or the next time blank, it doesn't happen. We see this with data mine cards. Ongoing, like Stardust, is something that you have to invest heavy into as a tech piece. It's a 4-cost card, which is not a small ask for many decks, and many decks can't afford to play a 4-cost card, yet alone have it combo into other things, because you're playing it because your deck doesn't take advantage of the combo because of how your deck is built. That's where I think I end up having the disagreement with Luke Cage, where it is something that is also covering the entire board similarly. However, it's one thing to do it for an offensive purpose versus a defensive purpose versus you're building your deck for it or against it. And that's where I think Luke Cage gets so much hatred, where I see it more to be like a Stardust. And if you are going to cover the entire board and you want to have a catch-all, you better invest more than 3 energy into it. And I think that's a part of the reason that I really don't like Luke Cage at 3-2, because it's similar to how we kind of started talking about the Gambit Horseman of Death thing, where if you want it to do a big thing like that, I expect more investment. You could also make a similar case for Killmonger, because it is helping you in some ways if you choose to.
It is so fucked up that the weakest cost is the one that has a direct hard counter.
Right. And I think that they tried with Kyera to help it a bit, but it's Kyera, and that's all I have to say about that. And like, if we had 4-5 Luke Cage, I could live with that. I could deal with that, because if a card's going to come on out that's got Afflict and you really want to counter it, now you got to invest heavy and you got to really deck build, and you really got to think about how you're playing the game. It's not a light thing. A 3-cost card, I can throw this in there. This is one of the things I decide. What do I need right now? Do I need Mobius? Do I need Cosmo? Do I need Luke Cage? That's what you're doing. You're just subbing out these 3-cost cards versus something that you have to deck build around. Like, you know what Stardust.
Else you're doing when you make him a 4-5, right?
If you say Cerebro 5, I'm going to backhand you through the screen.
No, I'm saying you're killing the other Cerebro decks. Cerebro 3, it's dead. It's over, dude. It's over. It's over. For the record, I consider that a good thing. I consider that a good thing in the sense of like the fact that this guy gets to go in so many Cerebro decks because he's 2 power means that like one of the ways in which I would want to interact with Cerebro, like the fact that this guy is in every Cerebro deck is a thing that also bothers me, because, oh, what's a really good way to interact with the deck that wants everything to be the same power? Oh, I can afflict it. Oh, okay. I'll play an afflict card in my deck. Oh, never mind. Like, yeah. I think that that's an all upside change. If you told me like you were like gonna message Jules, be like, you should 4-5 Luke Cage, I'd be like, yeah, you should do that.
Clip, segment, send. Like but it's true though. Like, full board effect. I've talked about this with Not My Dance several times, where it's like full board effect cards really bother me. And I don't mind them being in the game. But when they're so ridiculously cheap for such a broad amount of benefit, like I look at something like a Killmonger and a Luke Cage very differently than I would look at something like a Gorgon. Right? Or a US agent, even a US agent, maybe. But like, because Gorgon is, look, this is affecting the entire rest of the game, but it's a very specific niche of thing that your opponent basically has to be playing, or your deck building into it. Like I was messing around with Ika. We built Gorgonzola. So we were doing a Ronin style.
Okay, hold on. Did you do that? Did you build that deck specifically to make that joke?
That's exactly why we built the deck, because we wanted to build a deck named Gorgonzola.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure, like, was there like actually a thought process going on here, or was it like
No, there was 100%
names together and it spells a cheese?
Yes, this was exactly the purpose of the deck.
Okay.
And it was oddly really, really good. Like, and in this meta, it was great because Master Mold, I think, is a very slept on card right now because you're clogging your opponent's hand. Well, it's great right now with all this Mother Ascani type stuff because they can't get more duplicates.
Joke, man. I'm sorry. I was just trying to get some cheese jokes off. Don't worry about it.
It's okay. I'm going to move past it and pretend like it didn't happen. I kind of felt like if I'm looking at a card like Gorgon, where it is so specifically niche, you have to play a deck like this that's building into it, right? You're leaning heavier into really making the value of that card work, because as just a generic tech card, it doesn't necessarily do the same thing, because that's how you look at long-term versus short-term, because the short-term is Cobra, right? Same exact idea. You're messing around with created cards and you're trying to interfere with your opponent's created cards. That's what you're trying to do. But Gorgon makes a lot more sense.
I just think that Gorgon's a better card.
I do. That's what I'm saying. I agree. But I agree
not
with
because
you.
of long-term, short-term. Just like there are some dynamics that make it better, such as affecting the things before they hit the board, and if it, like, as a removal card, needing an extra turn to actually function. Like, I don't think it's a short-term, long-term thing. I think it's just one of these is better than the other in meaningful ways.
And I'm not disagreeing. I'm with you on that 100%.
No, I know we agree on that.
The reason we disagree, is what you're saying.
The specific reason.
I'm following.
Like, I don't find that reason as compelling as Cobra sucks. I find that reason much more compelling.
No, that's true. No, I know. But my point being, with a card like using Gorgon as an example versus something like a Luke Cage, I think if you're going to just straightforward, if you're going to cover the entire board with a card that is a solve-all, which is what which is what Shang-Chi used to be. He used to be a solve-all. It was, I got this lane, don't worry, but you got to invest 4 into it. You got to put 4 that way. Stardust makes you invest 4. We started having the same conversation with Horseman Gambit. You got to invest 4. It speaks to a different strength of playline. Juggernaut, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, you get the idea. That's what those cards, I feel like, want to be played as and want to be deck built around, versus having so much flexibility that it can just be plugged and played into so many decks right now.
We match. My cat and I are both white and pink right now. Just throwing that out there. I'm sort of concerned that the clip of me meowing is gonna make it in here, but
it
that
always
is what
does.
it is. No, I think that what's interesting about Gorgon to me in this context is that Gorgon is able to be an impediment without being a immediate stopper, right? Gorgon makes them one more expensive. You could still play Marvel Snap. Like maybe the move with Luke Cage is the first, your cards can't get afflicted more than once. Your cards can't get afflicted, or I block the first affliction, or whatever. I assume that doesn't function because there are like ongoing afflictions that would just crash the game or whatever, right? But like, just like maybe there's a direction to dial down some of the unilateralness of these cards, the ways in which, because I think what people don't like are that they say you have to play this way. And if you're playing a deck that is built to not play that way, you lose, basically, right? No, and so if there's a way to take some of it off, I think that that's also a direction worth investigating, rather than just like chunking them all up the curve.
It's the same way that you're looking at, like, I need a solution to, hey, I've been afflicted in this lane. Oh, I could just Shadow King it and just bring it back to normal, right?
Yep.
But why would I do that when I can play Luke Cage and cover every lane for the same investment?
Well, I mean, sometimes there are reasons, though. Like, why would I do that? Because Shadow King is also good at doing other shit, right? Like, Shadow King is also a card that can deal with like other things in the metagame, you know? Like, there are reasons.
But you're not building with that in mind, is what I'm saying. Like, when, I'm going into an affliction week, I need to play Shadow King. No, you need to play Luke Cage.
Sure, yeah.
That's more the direction of what I'm leaning. It's just, and again, this all came up because of Shang-Chi and seeing people wanting catch-alls, like we wanted for Star-Lord. We saw it with Star-Lord where it's like, look, there's got to be an energy card. There's got to be a cap on an energy thing. Some kind of ongoing that prevents extra energy or punishes you for that. And it's not always the answer. But when the answer is too good and too broad and too generic, like a Luke Cage, I do think it is a little bit of a like, come on, guys. Like, you're limiting your own design space because it's so easy to just counter it. Uh-oh. What?
I just got a notification. The sale that we had on here last time, the $3 jerseys at a website I will not name.
Oh, okay.
Do you want a $3 Aaron Rodgers Jets jersey? Like full jersey, the actual jersey. Go nuts, man. I just sent it to you. It is $3.99, brother.
Oh, see, you know what? If
I got
$3, I was like, I only got about $3.50. I got $3.50, and that's my budget cap for Aaron Rodgers, man. $3.50. Like,
yeah, no, I mean, I don't blame you. I just I saw this, I was like, holy shit, it's finally here. We've got the $3 Aaron Rodgers Jets jersey.
And it's the literal Nike
the actual jersey.
Yeah. Holy,
it's the
NFL
$3 like the actual
players, NFL official. Wow.
Yes.
That's hysterical.
I might spring for the $3 Jets jersey. That feels like a move that I'm interested in making.
God. I'll let the comments decide. Do I?
You gotta spring
do
for
I
this.
Get it? I don't know, man.
Flipping through players, like who's the funniest possible jersey to own. It's hard to top Rodgers Jets. It's really hard to do.
I'm pretty sure RuPaul was gonna carry over that.
That wasn't a jersey though.
But
like that's different.
Okay,
a Kawhi Clippers jersey. That's that ain't bad.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Not B tier comparatively, but
yeah, like it doesn't get much better than jersey of the guy who tore his ACL immediately and then sucked and then left. Like that's feels high up there.
I would get that jersey to make it into like some kind of Halloween costume because that's a worth.
Ben Simmons jersey. Let's go.
It's already in your cart. I know it is.
Nah, it was a youth. It was a youth, I fear.
It'll just make you look swole. That's all.
I'm gonna see if I can find a Ben Simmons in adult sizes. We'll see. We'll see if I can get there.
I don't think
there's actually some kind of sick. There's two youth Cordero Patterson Falcons jerseys, and Cordero Patterson fucking rocks. That's actually just great as far as I'm concerned. If I can find one that actually fits me, that's sick as hell. That's a great player.
Speaking of fucking rocks, can we talk about Darkhawk for a second?
Yeah. We can talk about Darkhawk. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I want to talk about that because it is interesting that obviously we were just talking about Gorgonzola, that deck, and that was a Darkhawk build with Ronin, and it kind of got me recognizing the fact that as I've been going through Lateral, I don't know if you've seen this up in Upper Infinite, but I've been seeing random reappearances of what seem like older cards. Like I've seen more Leader in the last 2 weeks than I probably did in the last 2 years. I've seen more Darkhawk in the last week and a half, 2 weeks, I'd say, than the Cozy era. I've seen more Profex. Like this old meta seems to be like people are just like remembering that these cards exist. And is that a factor of the meta actually changing, or people are just looking for new things to do? So they're just, now we're in the age of let's play the retro deck or retro card comparatively. Like why do you think we start seeing some of these cards making these reappearances? Like the second I start seeing Leech again, it's time to uninstall. But it's like,
I just assume it's vibes. Like it's a new metagame and a bunch of stuff that like would be good is not particularly good anymore. And so whatever your like bad shit ass deck that you're messing around with is, well, it's not nearly as bad relatively as it was when people were Starlording and show allowing. So you might as well.
But we live in a world with Mother Ascani and Sasquatch, and I'm still seeing them. Like I went up against a ramp leader deck the other day, and I still don't know how to feel about it because it was just weird. Like, why are we ramping into leader on 5?
I don't know why we'd be ramping into leader on 5, but I could see you wanting to play it. I don't know. I mean, it's a deck that doesn't have a lot of clogs in terms of what it's playing. Like, you aren't going to like overfill your locations or anything, probably. I'm not saying it's a good idea, but you know,
I'm not proud to say that I lost to it because it was not something I was expecting and clogged my lane.
I mean, that's good enough.
I was like,
honestly, though.
It's just like, and I even want to put a discard kind of into this conversation a bit too, because like traditional style discard, which I think is more of a, like I know you've said in the past where if destroy is good, it's a healthy meta. And I don't know if I disagree with that. I think discard is kind of like the better barometer for that, where if discard, Conchu discard, APOC discard, you know, that kind of classic traditional Dracula, Corvus Glaive even style of play, if that's able to keep up, there's probably some good things happening in the game, and it's a pretty undiscovered metagame right now. So
sure.
I just find it so interesting that you cut the balls off of the dragons and Star-Lord, and all of a sudden this much opens up. Like, I don't remember the last time I saw a Doom 2099 deck.
Oh, I mean, I'm seeing Doom 2099 gamers. They're still out here.
I'm barely seeing them comparatively. Like, I don't know, maybe I'll start seeing them more this week now that I'm in the Infinite side rather than the 90 side, but like, I just feel like I saw more people trying older cards since they took those 3 cards and they shot them out back. And I guess I wanted to mainly talk about it because I wanted to discuss if there was any other cards that you think deserve a second chance in the meta. Who deserves a chance to reprise their role in current Marvel Snap that maybe we're not necessarily really re-adventuring back into? Because like I think it was either last week or the week before you said something like, you know what I miss playing? Loki.
I don't know if I miss playing Loki.
Maybe not OG Loki, but like,
sure.
You know what I mean? Like,
I know what you mean.
What could potentially make a reappearance in Marvel Snap that wouldn't necessarily, I don't know. It's not about like redefining a meta. It's about rediscovering an old mechanic. Like, I'd love to go back into zombies again. You know, like I feel like that was a deck that only died because of Gambit, Horseman of Death. And now that we're seeing less of it, I wouldn't be surprised if people start reinvesting back into playing that again, because we're seeing a little bit less Shadow King. We're seeing a little bit less Cosmo. We're seeing a little bit less Gambit Horseman. Maybe it's time for this card, this archetype, generally, this package. It's not even an archetype. I call it a package because it's not a full-fledged deck. It's just like you build a 4 or 5 card package and you pair it with another one. You call it a hybrid. Like, that's safe assessment.
All right, man, you don't need to be that mean. Come on.
It's not an archetype. It's a package.
No, it's not. You're right. It's a correct thing. It's just like you said it in such a straightforward and matter of fact way.
Coming from KM Best,
I know.
Is
I'm
that
saying
bad?
even for me, I was like, damn. Don't hurt him, you know?
I'm just speaking honestly. That's all.
Mhm.
That's all I want to do here. But I don't know. Like, I don't miss the Jim Hammond days. I don't miss dealing with unnecessary, ridiculous clay. Did they ever fix the Clea bug, by the way? Do we know that?
The one where it would like rando crash the game? I assume they did because I haven't seen anyone complaining about it recently. But I haven't actually double checked it because I have not played Clea since people have mentioned it.
Yeah, it was a force. I think it was Husky that discovered that, right? It was the storm in hand Clea bug.
There's some sort of interaction between. It's probably not worth giving out specific details in case they didn't fix it. But yes,
something along those lines. Yeah. Like, I don't know. Like, I guess I wanted to, like I said, I wanted to bring it up as a like bringing back into the meta an old archetype. Like, I to a degree I miss playing Loki, not old Loki, but like the idea of what Loki represents in some way. I wouldn't be opposed to seeing him come back. I hate that the only time I really see Loki nowadays is Airship decks, and they get like the, what is it, 1 in 6 draw, and they happen to get it on turn 1. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna have extra energy, and then I'm gonna play your deck. Like, it's the only time I feel like I end up seeing a Loki player nowadays. But if there was a variation on Loki that would make it more interesting, like this flips a location into Weird World.
I would hate that card more than anything that has ever been printed in Marvel Snap. You have invented a card that is less fun and more dog shit. You have invented the most annoying, probably good card of all time. Okay, because you know what that card gets used for? That card gets played as 1-cost Scarlet Witch.
Fine.
That's what you'd actually do with it.
Okay. Instead, it just makes a copy of your opponent's next 2 cards. So it doesn't steal it, it doesn't flip the location. Does
that work with V-Hand? I think it would.
It's a created card in hand, so yeah, I guess it would.
I think it would. I think it probably would.
Considering how average V-Hand is, yeah, I'm okay with it, Ms. Fraud Watch.
Oh, yeah. They're gonna. I feel bad about putting her on Fraud Watch, but at the same time, every time I play her deck, I'm like, I hate you. Get out of here. I'd like to copy Sasquatch instead. Like, I don't want to copy you. What are you here for? Leave the left part of my hand. I have a giant foot to copy instead of you.
I wouldn't be that mean or aggressive in regards to it, because I mean, that episode was one of our more viewed episodes when you put Victoria
I saw that,
on
and
Fraud Watch.
I'm just gonna chalk that up to like not my fault. There's no way that like
top 3,
clickbait doesn't work, right? Like we've established this. I'm an ethical clickbaiter. Yeah. Guest, on the other hand, is not. So when I hand my takes to Guest, he's like, let's go. Like, I don't know. I'd like to think that was not why that episode got more views. I'd like to think it's because, we're really coming into our own as a podcast duo, and like our charisma and chemistry is building up. And, it's definitely not that, right? Right, audience? Right?
Remember, you're asking the people who already read and clicked. Which means I'm doing something a little better on the names. So shut up. You know what our second most viewed video is? This OTA nuked the meta.
Yeah, I mean, that it did, though. I don't even consider that unethical. That is just accurate. That's a thing that happened.
But it was the second most viewed podcast on this channel. Number 1 was our premiere episode together, still to this day.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah. It was one of those like type episodes. And yeah.
You wanted the Deshaun Watson jersey?
I am so over you right now. I'm
just trying to call back to the earlier. We've established that like this is how we build continuity with our audience.
I know.
I don't know why. I don't know why you're so mad at my suggestion that you'd be interested in the jersey of alleged predator Deshaun Watson. I don't know why you'd be upset at this implication.
I'll let you. You're a big boy. You'll get there. You'll figure it out. It's fine. When you do, just let me know.
Here's the thing. I don't know that I will, but I'll do my best.
Fine. I'm gonna keep this. I'm gonna turn this car back around then. And keep us on
That's
fucking
actually,
Marvel
this
Snap.
is like one of those things. That's sort of the reaction I go for with all of my jokes. Like, you either think it's really funny or you're going to turn this car around, right? Like, that's really the move that I'm trying to hit.
It's like the kid in the backseat of the car trying to get two different reactions from each parent.
Yeah, the point is just to get the
intentionally.
reaction, right?
Yeah.
The point is just get the reaction, not like actually do something.
Yeah, it's fair. I'm going to throw you a simple topic. I want you to give me 5 answers.
Okay. 5 is a lot, dude.
It won't be. I have a feeling you'll fly through these if I know you. Without even looking. Without even pulling up a website. I have a feeling you'll figure this out. Okay? Series 5 cards right now are flooded. Right? There's a lot of Series 5 cards.
Yeah.
And the collector's packs are like well over 100 cards of different that are 4,000 tokens each. It's ridiculous. What Series 5 cards can leave Series 5 and just go into Series 3 immediately? Just
see, like, here's the thing. I'm not going to be
down.
able to fly through this because I don't know what the hell's in Series 5. I have
Anything
no idea.
in the last year and a half.
Yeah, but like I don't really have like a good mental model of like, you're basically asking like, what are the 5 shittiest cards to come out? And I could come out with 5 shitty cards, but I don't know if they'd be the 5 shittiest. I will have to use a website for this. I want to do the due diligence of like what the hell actually is in Series 5. Cards, Series 5. Okay, cards that can go out of Series 5. Aranya, Baron Zemo. We're going alphabetically in case you can't tell. Kyera, I think very easy pick there. Oh God,
yes. Jesus.
I Colonel America probably, but I think he does make more sense in Series 4. Elixir, get the hell out. Esme, absolutely get out of here. Ezekiel Sims is probably stronger than the cards I'm mentioning, but he can go. Fenris Wolf can probably go. Let's see. Who else is just like, oh, really? That's a Series 5? Headpool. That's definitely like an, oh, really? Are you sure about that? Although maybe it's just good that Destroy has a card in Series 5 that you actually want because like the entire rest of the deck isn't there. Human Torch First Steps, I would argue
4.
On power, Infinity Ultron, but I do think he's like pretty appealing, so maybe you don't want to do that. Jack Flag, Jeff the Baby Land Shark, Jim Hammond Human Torch. Karen Page. You just get her out of here.
Just right away.
She's been in there for a week. You got it. That's too long.
She's a starter card.
Get her out of here. It's whatever. Kraglin is bad, but he's confusing and weird, and I think that's a valid use case for keeping him in Series 5, probably. Marvel Boy. Marvel Boy's a good one to drop. Powerful, but works with things that newer players might actually have access to, especially because they get like a Thanos deck for free. Dropping him to 3,000 tokens would be a really good thing to do, probably.
Yep.
Nocturne you could drop. People are going to say Nico Minoru, but I think Nico Minoru is kind of a great example of a card that you should never drop from Series 5 because everyone still wants her. And it's like I'm trying to keep a little bit of intellectual honesty here where it's like, this is a list that if Second Dinner asked me, I'd give them this list, which means that I'm assuming that they're not going to just give away free money. And I think like dropping things like Jeff, dropping things like Nico, that might be giving away free money. You might not want to do that. That's what the same conversation with the head pool came in there. Frankie Ray. Frankie Ray can go. Let's see. There's also like a complexity thing here where it's like if the card is weird and complex and esoteric enough, it might just be like, yeah, we should probably keep that at Series 5 so a new player doesn't accidentally fuck it up. Red Wing. Cersei can go, I think, but we'll see. I think I'd be pushing it if I said Starbrand. probably pushing it.
Probably.
Thaddeus Ross in the Ancient one.
Oh, yeah.
Can go. Yeah. White Widow can definitely go. Warlock, maybe?
Widow.
Zorn can definitely go. And then the zombies are all weird, and I'd like to either move them all down. I'd like to move at least one of them down if I could. It's weird because Zombie Cats in Marvel's pretty ass, but I wouldn't want her to be a Series 4 because she's such a weird ass card. Like her level of complexity is such that I think it might not be the right call. Or it's like someone would be like, "Oh, I'll pick this up for 3,000." It's like you really shouldn't do that. Like that's the thing I'm trying to avoid is like
you'll use it 2 days.
Putting these in Series 4 as like booby traps, basically. Like you don't want to do that.
That's why I said just drop it into Series 3. Like you just happen to unlock it, and then you could decide to. Yeah, because then you get into value prop of like, okay, this is okay-ish. There is some value here. It's not about time. It's a matter of effect, really, more than anything else. Like, does this hurt you to have in Series 3?
It might actually. Like, I don't know.
You move past it a lot faster in Series 3 versus, oh, this is my most recent Series 5 purchase.
You do.
Damn it.
And that is good. That is definitely a good thing to do.
I'd like to throw some like random cards into Series 3 that maybe don't make sense, but would actually be really good for newer players because it would keep it consistently fresh and interesting. Something like Pixie, where it's just a fun card lower on, but as you grow your collection, as you get Mobius on Mobius, all of a sudden, then it's a card that evolves in your collection rather than, what's this going to hurt? You already got a Wasp. Sure. Have fun with it. Good luck. You know, like that kind of stuff.
I think one of the things they should look at doing is sort of reordering how you handle early Series 3 and what the experience of that is. And whether or not maybe you should front load things like Wong and Venom and Sarah and like these archetypal build arounds that otherwise you're just kind of sitting there waiting to get at some point, presumably. I wonder if maybe some of those shouldn't be front loaded, or there shouldn't be some way to access them. Maybe like a special pack of their own. I know they love doing packs, right? But like stuff like that.
So if I were to look at the new player experience with the amount of cards, and there are certain cards that should be targeted like that, like you talk about Wong, I think, and also very specific archetype defining cards like Cerebro is a Series 3 card that you really decide like, okay, am I going to build this style of deck like Null? I really need Null if I'm going to play Destroy. You know what I mean? Like at that point in the game, like that, those kinds of cards, what I could see them doing as probably the fastest way to patch it rather than the most effective way to patch it would be taking all of the cards in Series 1 and Series 2 and doubling them up on the Series 1 track. Then take those front-loaded Series 3 cards and make that the new Series 2. In the same placements, you're just moving specific cards into that pool, one for one. And then all of those Series 2 cards as you're going earlier on, instead of unlocking one at, you know, collection level 100, you unlock two. You put both on the actual positioning.
Yeah,
so you get more cards faster of Series 1 and Series 2 specifically. You're not really breaking anything, and you still got to get to collection level, what is it, 512, I think, to start Series 3?
I don't know the number.
It's something like that.
I'll be 100% honest with you. Yeah. No clue.
It's something around that range-ish. It's around 500. But you still got to get there to get into Series 3. But then when you do, all of a sudden you have these key core cards starting to come there, and you're like, wait a minute, hold on. Now I got this Destroy card. And now I have access to the shop. And now I got collector's tokens. Oh, look, this just appeared. I'm going to get that now. You know, like it helps to push purchase also. Because I think when you enter Series 3, they give you 6,000 free tokens for the first, like you decide however you want to use them kind of a thing. Like, congratulations.
I think it's that, but it might be like,
yeah,
at a certain CL instead. I think it's like maybe CL 1000 or CL 500 or something like that.
Yeah. Either way, the same idea though. It's whenever you get that, you have access to it. You have the choice to be able to do so. But certain cards should be front loaded and they should be a lot earlier accessed. Like Sarah is a card that should be earlier accessed for those who are in collection level sub 1000, 100%. And like I faced a guy today in Infinite, and his turn 1 he plays Nova. His turn 3 he plays Deathlock on his Nova. I was like, and these are base variants. I'm like, what the hell? And then I look, he's collection level 993. And here I am with my Punisher War Machine variant doing all these move no, not at all. Like move shenanigans and like all these cards that probably every single card I'm playing, it's giving him that animation of new card every single time because there's just so many new cards and he's an Infinite. And it's like he didn't even have a choice on how he could want to build that destroy deck, but it's the only thing that's working for him right now, and it got him to Infinite. Congratulations, good job, dude.
He gets to see so many new cards.
All of the new cards. All of the new cards.
A lot of new ones.
I don't know. I feel like Series 5 is incredibly filled, and I know we've talked about it in the creator chat behind the scenes with some other people, and there's this common thread of conversation in other people's content as well, where they talk about series drops. And I'm like, I don't know if series drops is even the answer anymore.
Yeah, I think people think of series drops as the answer for the same reason they think of Shang-Chi as the answer to things when it shows up.
You see the loop.
Yeah,
I'm so proud of you.
I don't really think that that's necessarily the best way to go about doing the things that people want to do from series drops, but they don't really talk about that. And they're just like, I need more cards for free. When it's like, well, is series drops going to help the people who need more cards for free? Or is it going to help the people who have, 150 cards and want the other 150? Is it helping the new players, or is it helping the people who are halfway through? And I'm not saying you don't want to help the people who are halfway through, but if I had to structure my priorities, the new players would be like a significantly higher one.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that 100%. But you see exactly the point of just because it was a solution in the past, it doesn't mean it's the solution today. And I would not mind revisiting some of these cards because I think there are just systems that could be reoptimized, timings that could be reoptimized, but that's just, me being optimistic and hoping for the best that the right people hear the right things at the right times. But I wanted to kind of use this conversation, as you see with my choices of topics, about flashing back to the past. And then when you look at today, what are you seeing in continuity between all three topics? And it's the idea that a lot of people in the community want change, but they don't know what change they want, so they revert back to
they know
what
directionally what
right, but they don't know how, exactly, but they don't know. They go with an old solution that no longer would apply today the same way, but they're like, but it was a solution. You've used it before. Let's do this. You had old Shang-Chi. You had all these cards with series drops happening. You had Cadence. Why not just go back to those? Bring back old Loki. Make it fun. They just want.
Yeah, you're right. Make him be like a Weird World. Make him change the location to Weird World.
Duh.
Duh. Yeah.
It's the obvious answer. But I don't know. It was just true. It was an interesting pattern to recognize now that we were, 2 OTAs in 2 weeks. And we're having 3 OTAs in 4 weeks plus a patch.
Well, the patches never do anything, so that's kind of like a fake.
That's not true. Last patch, we got the Mysterio change. You did an extra video because of it.
Okay. The patches never do anything except literally one time in the entire last year. Congratulations, you have really
But what do we just say
intellectually
about the
checkmated
past?
on this one. I've really been intellectually checkmated on this. It's definitely wrong of me to suggest that patches typically don't meaningfully change Marvel Snap's metagame, because they did one time 3 weeks ago, or however long ago, 3 months ago, and then never again in the last 12 months.
If the next patch forces KM to do a video because something substantial happens, I'm going to open the next podcast with the giant
I'm going to be so
shit
mad.
grin. I'm going to be so happy.
The thing is, what's going to happen is, in the world where that happens, I'm just going to accuse you of like having leaked info. So, like, I really can't lose. You know, the game is rigged against me. It's much like the actual game of Marvel Snap. Any game I lose, my opponent is obviously sniping me. In this situation, it is clearly, factually, exactly identical.
On my kids, I do not have any knowledge of the patch.
Damn,
I
this is like,
promise
have you seen that? Have you seen that Kevin Gates video where he's like, I restarted a battery with my bare hands? And the guy interviewing him was like, no, you didn't. And he's like, if I didn't, may God murder my children. Like, that's
aggressive. I'm just saying,
that's
serious.
exactly
like,
the wording. Exactly the wording he said. Not even like on my kids. He said, if I didn't, may God murder my children. And his kids are still alive. So clearly he restarted that battery with his bare hands.
Tune in next week where the cold open is KM Best starts a battery with his bare hands.
My bare hands.
Next week's cold open is just going to be you with a battery in your hands going like...
I can't believe you've never seen it. It's unbelievable.
Nope.